It's a wet Tuesday. Hello and welcome to The Pulse. This broadcast is also live on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 125, and on all our social media handles. We're joining you on TV. Coming up, former MASLOC Chief Executive Officer Sedina Tamakloe is set to begin serving her prison sentence in Ghana following her extradition from the United States following a 2024 conviction on multiple charges, including stealing, conspiracy, money laundering, and causing financial loss to the state. We have details, plus explore the legal, political, and anti-corruption implications of this case right here on The Pulse. 2024 Annual Government Performance Report reveals government halted 15 major road projects due to financial challenges. We have more from the ongoing 2024 Annual Government Performance Engagement in Parliament. An early Tuesday morning rains trigger flooding and heavy silt accumulation along sections of the Accra-Takoradi Highway, particularly the Wager SCC Atala stretch, causing gridlock that extends for more than 5 kilometers. Movement cut off for many residents of Wejagbawe following the collapse of a bridge in the area, leaving school children stranded and commuters struggling to access their destinations.
It becomes so flooded, it becomes like a sea. No car can go through it.
Peripheral health facilities in Kumasi Metropolis begin to reel from impacts of ongoing strike at the Akufo-Addo Teaching Hospital as more patients throng the Menchia and Suntreso government hospitals to seek medical care. We have details as leaders of the doctors and nurses unions meet with the board and management of the hospital in a crucial effort to resolve the impasse. Teachers of Kupeliga DA Basic School gets a fully furnished 10-unit accommodation facility by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints after Joy News highlighted the plight.
In a nice apartment, I will sleep comfortably, then I will come out and then teach my children.
We'll tell you more in our continuing series, Crumbling Start Season 2. The latest of these and many other stories are coming in the next 3 hours. The Pulse is brought to you by Defendro Cough Expectorant. Defendro, breathe easy, feel better. My name is Kenneth Gyasi. See you in a moment.
Another week is here on the greatest of all time show. My name is Giovanni Clip, and tonight we're bringing you talent. Contestant number 1, let's bring Baby Girl. Let's bring. You did it for you.
Cut.
Oh, there is a leakage.
Where's the plumber? For quality and durability, insist on Syntex pipes.
If you want quality, this be where you belong.
Strong, tough, and reliable. Your perfect match to your trusted Syntex pipe. Syntex pipe, it they carry water, no wahala. Syntex pipe, it they make water they flow. Syntex, and you're strong, and you're tough.
Hi, now let me share my wildlife experience with you at Safari Valley Eco Park.
Welcome to Safari Valley.
Our electric shuttle pulled up, and in no time our tour began. We were surrounded by wildlife from the moment we entered the Eco Park. We were greeted by experienced tour guides who took us through orientation and how to better enjoy the experience. Watch these animals roam freely in their natural habitat undisturbed by our presence. We saw zebras, sable antelope, brown cranes, mara, silky chicken, nyalas, Shetland ponies, and so many animals I just couldn't keep up. Our tour guides taught us so much about the wildlife, their behavior, and how to interact with them. I even fed them. We also went fishing on a man-made canal. Then we took a break to have lunch in this serene environment. all this amazing experience for this price for adults?
This price for teenagers.
It's a bargain. As the sun began to set, it was time to go back home, but not before dinner by the campfire. It's been a thrill of a lifetime, and I can't wait till my next visit.
Safari Valley Eco Park, bringing you closer to nature.
Distributed by NS Chemist Limited. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Numerous cases of people falling asleep have been reported across the African continent. No one can explain this phenomenon.
With 24/7 FIFA World Cup coverage, sleep can wait. Everything can wait.
Catch all 104 matches from as little as 98 Ghana cedis only on GoTV.
Did you know that Ghana currently spends more than 8 billion Ghana cedis annually importing food that can be produced locally? That is why this June, Joy Business and the Super Morning Show, in partnership with the Federation of Associations of Ghanaian Exporters, FAGE, bring you the Joy Agribusiness Month 2026 under the theme From Soil to Sovereignty, Building Ghana's Agricultural Self-Reliance Through Innovation. Join us on the Joy Super Morning Show, Joy News, and across Joy Business platforms for a month-long national conversation on Ghana's food security and agribusiness future. Week 1 focuses on government policy, trade and financing for food sovereignty. Week 2 explores research, innovation, mechanization. Week 3 examines infrastructure, value addition, youth participation and agricultural financing, while Week 4 highlights opportunities across key horticulture value chains. The final week looks at consumer power and Ghana's roadmap to food sovereignty by 2030. Stay tuned to Joy FM and Joy News. Welcome to the program. After years of legal pursuit across 2 jurisdictions, former NDC MASLOC CEO Sedina Tamakloe has been extradited to Ghana to begin serving her prison sentence. She was convicted in 2024 on charges of stealing, conspiracy, money laundering, and causing financial loss to the state. Ghanaian authorities have sought her extradition under a bilateral treaty between Ghana and the U.S. In 2026, the U.S. federal court in Nevada approved the request, clearing the way for her transfer. Well, the United States Embassy here in Accra says it has now completed the extradition process. In a statement issued earlier today, the U.S. Embassy in Ghana confirmed her handover to Ghanaian authorities. Here it is. That's a statement from the U.S. Embassy in Accra, and it says that in April 2024, the High Court convicted and sentenced Sedina Tamakloe in absentia. In July 2024, the government of Ghana submitted an extradition request to the U.S. for her surrender to Ghana to serve her sentence. It continues to say that after 2 years of court proceedings, the U.S. authorities notified the government of her surrender in January this year. She arrived in Accra today, Tuesday, June 9th. And our legal affairs correspondent, Akufo-Addo, has been providing some details on that.
Well, Sedina Tamakloe served as MASLOC boss between 2013 and 2016 under the President John Dramani Mahama's first term in office, and she headed MASLOC, that small loans institution. At the time, the NPP government that prosecuted her accused her of a number of criminal offenses, including improper diversion of funds, unauthorized withdrawal of MASLOC funds, money laundering activities, and conspiracy to steal and causing financial loss to the state. Ultimately, the charges were filed in court, and she underwent trial. When the trial started, she was in Ghana, and in fact, she was granted bail at some point, but during the pendency of the trial and while she was on bail, she left the jurisdiction to the United States and she did not return. It was construed as having absconded bail, and ultimately the bail amount was forfeited to the state to the tune of about 5 million Ghana cedis. And the trial state did go on because the trial had started while she was in country, and then she had left at some point and she was not back in the country. The trial concluded and she was sentenced to 10 years. I mean, the court agreed in totality or with a certain sense of the charges that had been filed by the state against her. She was sentenced to 10 years in prison, but she was nowhere to serve a sentence. And that is why the government at the time put in an extradition request to the U.S. asking for Madame Sedina Tamakloe to be brought back in country to come and serve a term. And then today, we have just heard from the U.S. Embassy that Madame Sedina Tamakloe has been extradited to the country to begin serving her term.
What does that mean if the U.S. says that they've completed the extradition process? Legally, what does that mean? Does she now begin serving her sentence immediately she returns to Ghana?
The understanding is that Madame Sedina Tamakloe has been brought to the country, and as we speak, what will follow usually with the process of this nature is that the Ghana Police Service, together with the Ghana Precinct Service, will take custody of her right from the Ghana, the Accra International Airport, where the flight will land. And then she'll be processed and taken through the process. She's a woman, and whenever a female person is sentenced to prison, they would have to do a pregnancy test. All of that would have to be done, and then she'll be taken to Insawam or whatever prison facility that the judgment specified that she has to serve the sentence in, and then she will start serving her sentence immediately. There's two schools of thought. There's one that says that immediately the sentence is handed down, the clock starts ticking. As in, if you are sentenced in 2020 and you are not there to serve the time, and you are brought in after 10 years, there are those who say that the sentence would have run out. But there are those who say that until she is physically taken into custody to serve her term, that sentence would not have been had. So those two schools of thought are going to compete with each other. We'll get to see what happens. Perhaps the lawyers will challenge a certain part of all of that in court. We'll get to see. But that is what is going to happen. And this morning, as she landed, we expect that the Ghana Police Service and the Prison Service will take her into custody, do all the processes that are required, and then ship her to the nearest prison facility to start serving the time. Interesting,
Kweku. Well, let's stretch this a bit further. How significant is this case for Ghana's pursuit of persons convicted or accused of corruption or corruption-related matters who leave the country before or during their trial?
Well, this brings to mind Akufo-Addo, the former finance minister, and his chef of the cabinet, Kenneth Gyasi, who are currently in the U.S. also. The country, the government of Ghana has already sent extradition packets, particularly relating to Akufo-Addo. And we know that Akufo-Addo for a long time was in custody for immigration-related issues, but because of the extradition issues, the matter became complicated. At some point, few months ago, he was granted bail, and he has actually now gone home, of course, being monitored by the U.S. Marshals and security agencies for that reason, and he's currently there. We know that the matters having to do with the case against him, I should say, have also now been transmitted to him in the U.S., and so the extradition process is ongoing, but it just sends a certain signal that if the U.S. government believes that the government of Ghana has done its work well and has brought together an extradition request that meets their requirements of law, they will ship whoever it is that the government of Ghana is seeking back to the country. We'll get to see in the coming weeks and months if Ghana is able to get a kind of success we get with Sedina Tamakloe Attionu and get Kenneth Gyasi and Ernest Akore and other persons who are in the United States or in other countries who are currently facing trial or have been convicted to be returned to the country to face Ghanaian justice.
Well, let's take you back to the U.S. Embassy here in Accra, which says it has now completed the extradition process. Let's bring you that statement that was issued by the embassy earlier today, and it says justice has no borders. The United States has extradited Sedina Tamakloe to Ghana following her conviction on over 70 corruption-related charges, including embezzling more than $6 million equivalent in Ghanaian taxpayer funds. This is our strong U.S.-Ghana law enforcement partnership in action, demonstrating a shared commitment to accountability and the first extradition from the U.S. to Ghana since 2009. We've also been hearing from government spokesperson Felix Kwakye Ofosu on this particular matter. He revealed that the Attorney General is expected to meet officials from the United States Department of Justice in the coming days for bilateral discussions on all outstanding extradition requests between Ghana and that country. Let's bring you what he has been saying. And this is it. He says that in April 2024, the High Court convicted and sentenced Sedina Tamakloe in absentia. In July 2024, the government of Ghana submitted an extradition request to the U.S. for her surrender to Ghana to serve her sentence. He continued to say that after 2 years of court proceedings, the United States authorities notified the government of her surrender in January this year. She arrived in Accra today. Officials of the Ghana Police Service and the Ghana Prison Service have taken her into custody and are making the necessary preparations for her to begin her sentence. Meanwhile, the Attorney General is scheduled to meet his counterparts at the U.S. State Department for bilateral discussion on all pending extradition requests between the two countries. Let's expand this conversation, and joining me on Zoom right now is former Deputy Attorney General Alfred Tua Yeboah. I'll also be speaking with international law lecturer Professor Kwadwo Appiah-Tua. And later we'll hear from the MPP's Director of Communications, Richard Anyagba, as well as anti-corruption campaigner Edem Senanu. Mr. Tua Yeboah, welcome to the program. It was during your tenure as Deputy Attorney General when this process began. First of all, let me pick your initial reaction to the extradition, which has now been completed.
Yes, good afternoon, my brother. Yes, let me first and foremost extend congratulations to the U.S. authorities for responding to our requests and also having taken the step to bring Sedina Tamakloe down. And it will also be in order that I extend my commendation to the hard-working attorneys at the Office of Attorney General and Ministry of Justice, especially the attorneys at the DPP office who were given all the support to prosecute this matter dispassionately and also taking the necessary steps to ensure that the state got the right results from the acts of Sedina Tamakloe and her accomplice. As a former deputy AG, I was in that office, and I can testify to the work that the DPP's office did, as well as the investigators from the state agencies. In our fight against corruption, I think this is the way to go. If state agencies are allowed to work independently, without interferences, these are some of the results that we are likely to get.
Well, some say this has been a long time coming. In fact, in the U.S. Embassy statement that they released, this is the first successful extradition from the U.S. to Ghana since 2009. What did your department at that time, do you say, did right to have this result?
After the conviction in April 2024, we took the steps to initiate extradition proceedings. And the attorneys responsible for such proceedings started working. And so as at August 2024, we had gotten a feedback from the U.S. authorities as to where Madame Sedina Tamakloe was and her movements. And so when we left office in January, I was very convinced that the U.S. authorities continue with what we started. And I think they've actually done it by bringing her down to Ghana.
Quite interesting. And what does her extradition say about Ghana's determination to pursue corruption-related cases, even beyond the borders of this country?
I think it sends a signal that if you are engaged in any corrupt act, the state will pursue you. It also sends a signal that if you are to stand trial in Ghana and you decide to abscond, wherever that you be in this world, provided we have an extradition treaty with that country, the state can go ahead, prosecute you, and if you are convicted and sentenced, you'll be brought back to serve your sentence. So this shows that Ghana is a nation of laws, and also it's a nation that also abides by its obligations at the international law.
As we speak right now, so there are 2 extradition requests between the 2 countries. We know that we have requested for the extradition of former Finance Minister Kenneth Gyasi. The U.S. is also requesting for the extradition of a Ghanaian citizen who goes by the alias Abu Trika. Do you think that this will serve as a benchmark for a smooth process to, continue between the 2? Do you think that this successful extradition of Sedina Tamakloe will open the floodgate for the possible extradition of 1, Kenneth Gyasi back to Ghana, and 2, the one by the U.S. to Ghanaian citizen Abu Trika to that country?
When it comes to the case of Mr. Gyasi, that is a life matter. We are told that the state has initiated the process. Mr. Gyasi, we also told us to engage his lawyers in the U.S. to fight the extradition. So let's leave it there to see what the laws in the U.S. say about Mr. Gyasi's defense to the action. But we must also have in mind that currently there is a process in court that's seeking to challenge the authority of the special prosecutor to initiate criminal prosecutions. And so if Mr. Gyasi's request is based on the OSP's charges, there will be some challenges, but let's allow the law to work and see how it goes.
Well, there's also the argument about why it took so long, 2 years and over. You started the process while you were there. Does that mean that you handed over those extradition processes to your successors? How did it go? And why did it take so long, this extradition process of Sedina Tamakloe?
On our part, as I indicated, we initiated it.
Right.
And by August 2024, the U.S. had reached out to us, detailing the movements of Madam Sedina Tamakloe. In December, we were also, by December 2024, we had also been informed about all the efforts being made by the U.S. authorities to initiate the proceedings there. And so having left office in January 2025, it was our expectation that we could get it earlier than we had it now, but it's better late than never.
Mr. Attorney General, please don't go yet. I'll come back to you. Let's bring in the law lecturer, Professor Akufo-Addo. Welcome to the program, Professor Akufo-Addo. From an international law perspective, what does this extradition tell us about cooperation between Ghana and the U.S. in combating corruption and financial crimes, you'd say?
Thanks for having me. Yes, I think there is an international law angle to the corruption case we are having now. And in fact, in most cases, corruption and international law have some strong relationships. And here is being exemplified in the way that the extradition process was processed and followed. And so I think that when it comes to criminal law cases, while it is a domestic jurisdiction issue, if the person leaves the shores of the country, international law has to come in through the process of extradition to bring the person back to the country to face a trial or to serve sentence, depending on where the case was before the person absconded or became a fugitive of the law. So I think this is an example of how cooperation between 2 countries through an extradition treaty that binds the 2 countries can be used to ensure that justice is served for the particular country which has had some problems with a wrong committed by a citizen, or even if a citizen against another country, that the extradition exists between the two of them.
Right. And now that she has been extradited to Ghana, does Sedina Tamakloe have any remaining legal remedies that she can use?
Well, I think in the area of international law, I think international law has come to an end in this respect. But within the domestic laws, I think, yes, there are some processes that Sedina Tamakloe Attionu can take. For example, it means that we have to come back to the question of trial in absentia, and whether, even though the constitutionality of the trial in absentia will come in here, and whether truly what transpired with her trial in absentia meets the constitutional test. I think the other issue will be generally that every person has a right to appeal. So even if it is not the absentia issue, and it's about maybe the sentencing or something, then she can also appeal based on that.
Right.
But I guess it's also be a question of time, because when you want to appeal a case, time is of the essence. And then I think that also the issue about when the sentence begins to run. There is some debate as to when sentencing begins, and some of the view that it begins immediately judgment is pronounced. Others have the view that there can be some exceptions. And of course, there are some exceptions, but it seems not to be very clear in the case of trial by absentia. So these are lingering issues that can be raised within the domestic jurisdiction.
That was actually going to be my next question to you, Professor Appiah, because we know that she was sentenced in absentia for 10 years. Now that she's been brought back to Ghana, some are saying, is she going to start the service in prison afresh? Is she going to continue from when she was sentenced? How is it going to be like? There's a bit of ambiguity there, as you've rightly mentioned, but in your own knowledge, in your years of experience in this field, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, I think that if you are applying a black letter application of the law, we can say that sentencing has already begun.
Okay.
And for that matter, if she had stayed away for the 10 years that was imposed on her, she would have come back home scot-free. But I think that would be an injustice and a wrong interpretation of the law. So a progressive interpretation should be adopted to say that if you absconded and you therefore left the jurisdiction, sentencing will pause until you are found, and then the process, your sentencing should begin. Otherwise, it wouldn't be fair for somebody who could not abscond to have served 10 years in prison, and for somebody who did abscond to come back home clean, dry and clean. Yes, that is what would be my interpretation of it. But I think it will be up to maybe the Supreme Court to make that determination.
And what precedent does this development send for other high-profile extradition matters involving Ghana, including that of former Finance Minister Kenneth Gyasi?
I think it sends a clear signal that if justice was served in this case and this lady was brought back into the country, the same process should follow in the case of Mr. Kenneth Gyasi. Until the High Court decision about whether the functions and the powers of the OSP came into play, I would have said that the two cases were good on similar grounds. But with that issue about questioning the powers of the OSP, if it is affirmed by the court, for example, that the OSP doesn't have the prosecutorial powers, it will jeopardize the ability of the Ghanaian government to bring back Mr. Gyasi to be tried in the country.
Professor Appiah, don't go yet. Alfred Tuah is still with me. He's a former Deputy Attorney General. Mr. Tuah, do I have you?
Yes.
Good. I want to pick your thought on this as well, because there seems to be a lot of ambiguity as to when her sentence starts, really. What do you think? Does it start the moment she was sentenced, or now that she's been brought back to Ghana? Is it starting the moment she landed into this country, or the moment she's put behind bars in Ghana? When do you think it starts, her 10-year sentence?
The 10-year sentence starts the very day that she's put under restrictions in Ghana.
Okay.
And so to me, her sentence starts from today. And this is what I say so. Now, if you look at section 315 of the Criminal Procedure and Other Offences Act, it talks about when a sentence starts. If you read it as Prof said, on the face of it, you'll be tempted to think that it starts from the day of judgment. But implicit in that section is the assumption that at the time that an accused person is convicted, he will be under the custody of the court. But in this particular instance, she was convicted as someone who had already absconded. And so her restrictions will begin to run the very day she's arrested. I say purposively reading section 305, the only conclusion is that Madam Tamakloe can start her sentence from today. If we were to go by the what we have now on the face of it, then it will lead to an absurdity. Because it means that if a court convicts you for 10 years and you ask for 10 years, after 10 years, you can just come in and you walk squeaky clean. That would be so absurd. That's the very reason I said upon proper construction of the section I just mentioned, her sentence starts running from today.
Right. Now, we are hearing that the Attorney General will be going to the U.S. to meet with the Department of Justice to speak about the possible extradition agreements or requests that have been put forward by both countries. How do you think they should approach it, the Attorney General of Ghana? How do you think he should approach it when it gets to the Department of Justice in the U.S.?
I think the learned AG, he knows stuff. He also has the experts within the ministry. I only say that he must work with the experts in the ministry. And so when he meets his counterpart in the U.S. as the AG of Ghana, he's also well qualified to enter into any negotiations or discussions with the U.S. Attorney General. So I expect that the negotiations will go. But as Prof also said, in some of these things, you also have to look at your local setup. Are there impediments there? If there are impediments, definitely that will go against your request for extradition. And so looking at Mr. Furate's case, as earlier alluded to, so far as we have an issue regarding the power of the OSP to initiate criminal prosecutions, if that process, that ruling is affirmed, it means that whatever was done by the OSP is a nullity. And if it's a nullity, it means that every process that was initiated at the extradition of Mr. Furata is also a nullity. And so Ghana has to come back and then start afresh.
Right. And right now that we know that she was tried in absentia, that means she wasn't given the chance to, defend herself. Does she have any legal options available up her sleeve now that she's been brought back to the country?
Yes. Now that she's been brought, she has the options as part of her constitutional rights. But whether she will succeed is another matter. For example, when we tended to argue that she can apply for bail if she files an appeal, but the appeal cannot be filed just like that. I mean, her lawyer should be able to advise her the process if she wants to go through that route. But if she puts an application for bail, if she successfully files an appeal, I don't think the court should go ahead and then grant her bail, because when she was being tried, she was granted bail and absconded. And by our law, if you abscond, it means that you've spanned the opportunity that you were given. And so regarding bail, I think it's a no. I will not be the judge. That's my own opinion because of antecedents. When it comes to substantive matter, the appeal itself, there are also a couple of hurdles there that will be based on the evidence. Fortunately, I took part in the trial and they stated a very strong case. I mean, it's a watertight case. And so I'll be very much surprised if tomorrow I get to hear that she's been set free based on the merits of this particular matter. Because I said, the attorneys who did the prosecution did a very good job. She was given every opportunity to take part in the trial, but she decided not to take part in the trial. The High Court judge, who's in the Court of Appeal, who sat on the matter, gave extensive, well-reasoned judgment in the matter. But her right to appeal is something that she may want to exercise, but we will also be watching the space carefully.
Right.
And I repeat, some of us are going to watch the space so carefully and diligently.
Right.
Because if she initiates any process, we'll be following up on that process.
Mr. Tuayebwa, don't go yet. I'll come back to you once again. We have Vitus Azim, who is an anti-corruption campaigner. Welcome to the program, Mr. Azim. Well, the anti-corruption community in Ghana must be very pleased with this extradition, aren't you?
Well, yes, I think that it's a good development. People have been expecting.
If you could kindly speak up for me so I can hear you.
I said it's a good development. People have been expecting this in a while. And people were beginning to doubt whether there was a possibility, whether you could actually bring her back. So if she's now brought back, yeah, I think it is a welcome development. And anti-corruption people should be happy about it. It also puts more confidence in the oral process.
Right. And what is the significance of this case and what impacts could it have on other pending cases, you think?
Well, it is a pointer to other government public officials that if you should not think that you can engage in corrupt acts and run away to another country and Ghana will not go after you. And that there's a possibility that if you do that, the government will be able to get you extradited, brought back to the country for trial and maybe jail if you are found guilty. So that should discourage people from engaging in corruption because maybe they think that they belong to the party, the ruling party at the time. If you go, they can come after you even after your party has left power. Although it should have been possible for people like that to be tried, arrested and tried, even when their government is in power. We should not link being in power to corruption.
And do you think this will help in our fight against corruption? Because we know that it's usually very difficult to prosecute political appointees, such as Sedina Tamakloe. Now we have her been, sentenced to 10 years. She absconded. She's been brought back. Do you think this will serve as a deterrent enough for political appointees that whatever you do, the law can catch up with you?
It will serve as a deterrent. But whether it will be enough or not, you see, people are always ready to take risks. Criminal-minded people don't actually care whether they will be arrested and tried or not, or they will even believe that they will be able to escape. And so it's not going to stop corruption altogether, but it will deter some people. People are a bit afraid to engage in such acts in doing that. So to some extent, yes, but not completely.
And what signal does this send about this government's commitment to fighting corruption?
It sends a good signal. It sends a good signal that the government is committed. But until the government also goes to its own people who are it is not enough. It will not people in any ruling government or ruling party, they do not scare them from engaging in corruption because they always think that they can get off the hook until you have a party or a government in power dealing with some of its own appointees.
Right. Don't go yet, Mr. Vitus Azim. I want to wrap up with you, Mr. Tuayebwa, former Deputy Attorney General. You say that you will keep a close eye on this. Do you have a feeling that she could be let go?
I have that feeling. That feeling may be wrong, but that's the feeling that I have. Because of past incidents where people who are members of the current party in government were made to go scot-free by the filing of withdrawals and only prosecutions. And Madam said that Tamakloe's counterpart has also been granted bail That's what's going on over 8 months now, plus nothing. So that's the feeling that I have. But I say, hey, that's her right. But I'll be monitoring carefully.
Well, that's quite interesting. Although you were Deputy Attorney General, you were obviously a political appointee. In situations like this, how can somebody who has been sentenced for 10 years, absconded, brought back, be let go just like that, just because a government is in power? How possible is it? You are a lawyer as well.
As I said, because of what happened from January 2025, where we had prosecuted some cases, we had closed our case. In some of the instances, they had even opened their defense. The state decided to withdraw, and those people were acquitted and discharged by the court. And so if Madam Sedina Tamakloe files the process, and the state decides not to oppose, and that process granted by the court, some of us will go at the officers who decided not to file an opposition to any process that she files.
What are the options available for you? What's likely to happen in the unlikely event that this happens? What are you going to do in your capacity as a former Deputy Attorney General who was part of this process?
As I said, I'll be watching carefully and diligently. When the time comes and I need to do something, it will be done. But I trust the judiciary.
Right.
The judiciary must also be wide awake.
Right.
I mean, some of these matters, if you let people go on bail, others, it send that kind of signal there that, oh, you do it. Later when you come back, you come in and then the court will grant you bail. But I'm not saying they don't have the power to grant bail, but I'm saying that we must all be very cautious.
Right. Deputy Attorney General, thank you very much. Alfred Tuah is a former Deputy Attorney General. It was during his time that the extradition processes for Sedina Tamakloe was initiated, and it was also during his time that Sedina Tamakloe was convicted. 10 years in prison. Let's now bring in the MPP's Director of Communications, Richard Anyangba. Mr. Anyangba, welcome to the show. This extradition is likely to be viewed as a significant moment in our fight against corruption, wouldn't you say? How does the MPP assess today's development?
Well, thank you much, and good afternoon to your viewers. I think that this is more or less running around to deal with a problem that was not necessary to begin with, but for our sister's decision to abscond. I think, yes, she's been brought back. We'll go back to her serving her sentence. I think that, honestly, public service is trust. Once that trust is questioned, the law must take its course. So that's where we are. So there is nothing to jubilate about. There's nothing to celebrate about this. She served as a matter of principle. If there were concerns about her service, she ought to be here and answered, but somehow she ran away. I think that she ought to bow her head down in shame and then just go and serve the sentence as it is, so that we can move on. I don't think there's anything here to celebrate.
Why isn't there, Richard? Why isn't there anything here to celebrate? Because we've seen the equalization of the MPP. When often the calls for Akufo-Addo to be extradited back to Ghana, we've seen members within your party say that Sedina Tamakloe is also in the United States. She should be brought back first. Now she's been brought back, but the MPP says there's nothing to celebrate. At least, isn't this helping in our fight against corruption?
As I said, absolutely. I mean, there's no question about its value in terms of fighting corruption. That only gives indication that, and I think the U.S. Embassy captured it rightly, that crime has no borders. And so therefore, people can be held accountable. And I'm saying that is a given. That is not a novelty. It's not something we just discovered. It's been there. We know it. What it is that we're talking about here is an individual who should sign up to the principle of accountability to begin with, coming from a party that promoted probity accountability to us. There is nothing to celebrate by getting one of its persons to come and serve the cause of justice. Now, the matter you raised to do with an equalization, or I like to say, a retort from the New Patriotic Party when the NDC elected to politicize a matter to do with Ken Ofori-Atta. It wasn't us just saying that, okay, look at this and look at that. It is they who were politicizing the issue with Ken Ofori-Atta, which ought not to be politicized at all. If the principle, as I indicated to you, public service is trust. And so that trust, when questioned, the law is the only way to settle it. And so when people have served and they are seen to have done something untoward, let's allow the law to deal with it. So when you want to bring Ken Ofori-Atta back to the country, you don't politicize the matter. You go through the processes and bring it back. It was when they were politicizing it that we had to remind them that you are busying yourself about an issue that you don't even have a watertight evidence that this man is guilty. You haven't charged the person, but you're making it political. That was where we gave the retort. But that it doesn't hold any value in terms of the substantive matter of having people face accountability when they have breached the confidence of the people.
Right.
That's for me what I mean, that there's nothing yet to celebrate. She's absconded. Should we put powder on her that it's been brought back? The process to bring her back started in the old administration. And the Deputy Attorney General told you, there's more than, if you do the calculation, about 23 months since the process started. What has taken so long? The NDC decided to just politicize some other processes rather than dealing with a case that is concluded. And an individual who is one of their own, they've been talking to us since they came to office, but they decided to pretend that that didn't exist. And so they bring it back now. They want us to clap for them. No, there isn't any plaudits here. Let's go ahead and do what the Ghanaian people expect of us. Let's hold people accountable. Let's do it according to law. That was a concern that we had, and that's a concern everybody must have in dealing with people who have breached public trust. It must be done so according to law. The presumption that they are innocent until proven guilty, that must be accorded them. And that's really all that we're asking for in the case of Ken Ofori-Atta. Do it. In the case of Madam Sedina Tamakloe, it was done. She was presumed innocent. She was given bail, and she decided to run away. So she wasn't harassed the way they were harassing Ken Ofori-Atta. She wasn't treated the way they have been treating our people. We're saying that do it according to law. All of us in the NPP, and I'm hoping that the NDC sign up to this accountability thing to say that we will not shield anybody, anybody who's breached the law, but you must not use the law to bring people to account. That principle must be settled properly. So right now, she's back home, nothing to celebrate. And I agree with the Deputy Attorney General, Honorable Tia Yeboah, about the matter to do with how we proceed from here, whether the NDC is going to be playing some hanky-panky with her and try to bend the rules to have her avoid serving sentence, which I anticipate is probably what is going to unfold. But at the end of the day...
Richard, sorry to cut you. So you sharing the sentiments with the former Deputy AG that she could likely be let go?
I'm saying that it's a high probability. If you see how they moved, they came to office, have we changed the Attorney General yet, or we still have Dr. Ine? If we still have Dr. Ine, then you have his history as one who could just, by morning tomorrow, issue nolle prosequi, do any number of legal maneuvering to let her walk free. They are capable of doing that by their history. And that's a concern. And that's a concern that I have. That's a concern many, many Ghanaians have. And this was the reason why this whole extradition thing took forever anyway. It took forever because they were contemplating and they didn't really want to do it, but for the conversation becoming topical. And when they went unknown, well, more or less unintended, they went and thought that they've got a case against Ken Ofori-Atta. They were politicizing and dramatizing this. And all of a sudden, the public said, no, but one of you has already actually been convicted and sitting calmly in somewhere in America. Why don't you bring it? It was that precipitated this whole process of acting on that request that was put before the U.S. officials by the previous administration. So for me, I don't have any high hopes as to whether or not they will ensure she serves her sentence as has been given in 2024. I have doubts about it. But if they do, it will be for the good of the country, and all of us would then grow stronger in confidence about our legal system.
Another high-profile extradition request that the Ghanaian government has sent to its U.S. counterpart is that of Kenneth Gyasi, the former finance minister. Are you hoping that it turns out the way Sedina Tamakloe's own turns out, and he's brought back to Ghana?
Well, you know what? I think that the two cases are different. They are not mutually inclusive. They're exclusive in a sense that Sedina Tamakloe's case is on a balanced, decided case, a slam dunk. She's done something. She's been convicted. Bring her home. That's it. So that's a different matter. The extradition request to do with Kenneth Gyasi, the matters related to it are legal, and I think that most of it is under litigation. Ken's own lawyers are dealing with the matter. They don't think that the request is appropriate, so his lawyers are in court dealing with that. And as you just had a conversation with the former Attorney General and even Prof. PJ indicated, even here in our country, there's a conversation that the person leading the extradition is not properly clothed with the powers to do that. And so that's up in the air. So we'll see how those things settle. And when it does, I don't think that Kenneth Gyasi or anyone in the MPP is afraid of facing justice. The concern from day one has been whether this will be a fair process. And we worry that it's not going to be a fair process. And that's the tragedy. That's a tragedy we face today, that we have a legal system just yesterday was acclaimed globally, but today you can't have that much confidence in our judicial system. Walked in 2025, removed Chief Justice, everything is up in the air as we see now. And so I don't know what environment Ken would come to if the processes allow for him to come. But I'm saying that as Ghanaians, we should be concerned about the legal system that is operating in our country today. There's very little confidence that we can have in it. That's sad.
Richard Dongoyet, Vitus Azim is still with me. He's an anti-corruption campaigner. Vitus, you've been listening to the politicians. They appear to be expressing skepticism about whether or not she will indeed serve a prison sentence, because the MPP appears to be reluctant to believe that she will be made to serve a prison sentence. What does this say really about our fight against corruption when everything has political connotations to it?
Well, you see, like Richard said, you look at what happened in the past. So it is okay to have reservations about it. But I'm not a lawyer, but I think that at least she would go to jail. Then they might decide to grant a presidential pardon. I don't think that after going through all this struggle to get the person back to Ghana, you can now say that you are not, the state is not interested in the case. They'll probably allow her to go to jail, and then after a year or two, you grant her presidential pardon. This is how I look at it. But again, the effect on corruption, the fight against corruption, is negative. Because after all, if you accuse somebody of corruption and you try the person is found guilty, why would you now turn around and do something that would negate what you have been doing fighting for? So if the fellow doesn't go through the full prison sentence, then definitely to discourage us in the fight against corruption, but encourage other appointees to engage in similar acts of corruption in the future. And that's not a good sign for the fight against corruption.
Kenneth Gyasi, our former finance minister, is also fighting his extradition in the U.S. Now we've heard that the country's Attorney General, Dominic Ayine, is in that country to meet his counterparts in the United States to discuss matters involving the possible extradition of Ken Gyasi also to Ghana to come face the law. What do you make of that? And really, are you confident that it's going to result in him being extradited to Ghana to come face the law?
Well, I think it will depend on the case we make for that extradition.
Right.
Because you see, it's no longer within the powers of the government of Ghana to get him to come back. It will now be also, according to the laws of the U.S., whether the authorities there accept the reasons we give for wanting him back to the country. And so as for confidence in his coming there, it is, I can say it's 50-50. There's no guarantee that we'll get that to come back. The lawyers that he has, all that will be top-notch lawyers who might be able to fight to gain his freedom for him, to prevent him from coming back to the country.
Oh, that means that others will argue that little progress really has been won in our fight against corruption, because it appears that we take 2 steps forward and 3 steps backwards.
1 step backwards, yes.
Vitus, don't go yet. I still have Richard Anyagba. He is the Director of Communications with the opposition NPP. Richard, does this reinforce confidence in Ghana's justice system and its ability to work with other international partners, you'd say?
Absolutely. I mean, nothing is concluded yet. Nothing has been done. We're at beginning stages of a process unfolding. And I say the constraint of the process of the legal system is rules, right? And so the rules must be allowed to work. Otherwise, you don't have a system, you have chaos. And so if within the rules allow the concerns of an accused person must be attended to, and the rules allow for certain provisions to be made or accommodations to be made, and within the rule is allowable, it's allowable. It must be allowed. The fundamental issue confronting us relative to Akufo-Addo is that you have a regime that has set the rules aside, at least when it applies to their political opponents. When it comes to their own, they are very relaxed about it. They are ready to write any number of nollie prosequas and relax the rules, give them very relaxed conditions of bail. They can bail themselves with a twinkle of an eye, but then set a certain threshold for a political opponent that is impossible to meet. And so Akufo-Addo has right, and all of us have right. In fact, our constitution affords us that right. And he is, like all of us, is entitled to enjoy that right. That's what makes it a legal system. It's a legal system because it's a set of rules, and that must work. And so the point is that, by all means, the state should make its case. The Attorney General is there. He will see that in America, rules work. And maybe if he learns from that, he come back and go back to the drawing board and use the rules to get the end that the state seeks. The fact that we must fight corruption doesn't mean that we set the rules aside. That's the only negative that we have seen in this regime. Sedina Tamakloe, when she was being prosecuted, the processes were followed. She was accorded all the rights, except she decided that even with all the rights that was being accorded her, she thinks that she just wants to abscond, and she did. But Akufo-Addo started the whole thing, was politicized. He was mischaracterized. He was deemed as criminal to begin with. And how do you do that? Our laws don't permit you convicting somebody before they have a chance to answer a question in court. And so that's the point. We want corruption to be fought spiritedly. And in fact, for me, this current Attorney General is just slacking around, because the kind of hope they gave us that they have some 21 billion they want to collect for the state, by all means, collect that. Let's use it to build. We have challenges of hospitals and all of that. Collect that. But if you see so far, they haven't been able to do anything. So it means that they talk a lot, do little. For them, if they can do anything, it's about breaking the rules. But the thing is that the rules are there for a reason. You must follow the rules. If it's a question of me blaming you and that becomes factual, I can blame you for any number of things on your program now, and you are supposed to become picked and taken to jail. But that's not how it works. So the NDC make a good case of this person is corrupt, that person is corrupt, and they win power. Now they can't find the wood for the tree. They can't find any evidence to convict anybody, and except that they decide to try to make it political and dirty MPP's name that they are corrupt, but there's no evidence. But they must go by way of evidence, prove and sentence people where they have gone wrong, and we will support them to achieve that end. I think that's simply what the expectation is, and we must do that. Fighting corruption does not mean set the rules aside. The rules are part of the process of fighting corruption, and so they must play with the rules and ensure that people who have gone wrong and have breached public trust must be held accountable, Ken included.
So you see the calls for the extradition of Kenneth Gyasi as a mere political charade?
No, I'm saying that the conversation attending to it. Yes, you can do the request for Ken to be extradited to Ghana. It's not political in of itself, but the conversation that he has done this, that he's almost a criminal. We want him calm. That because of Ken, this country is suffering, that Ken has ripped the country dry and all of that. That conversation is prejudicial. The man has not been charged. In our laws, you are innocent until proven guilty. But the NDC came, you know that, I'm not telling you, you know that, you saw everything they did, even including the people who are in country that they are trying. If you do any calling on your program now and you mention any of the MPP people, I don't want to mention names, you mention their name now and say, what do you think about this person? They will tell you they are criminals. If you mention Mr. Addo, says a criminal, because that's what the NDC has made it. But that's not the law. And so that's why we're saying that this environment they have created is hostile. It doesn't give anybody confidence that they would have their right respected, because your right is abused even before you come in. That is not how we fight corruption. You fight corruption according to the rules, but the NDC doesn't want to play with the rules. That is not justice. That's wrong. And so we're saying that let's fight it. Let's get people to come and answer, but create an environment that will engender that confidence that when I come, the right that has been given to me, accrued to me under the Constitution, I have access to it. Let's engage and then ensure that where people are wrong, let's punish them. But don't just create an appearance of guilt for people when there is none already. Because until you have proven that somebody is guilty, you cannot call them guilty. But that's what we have now. You are called guilty, and then you are forced to go and clear yourself. That's not how it works. And so that's just the difficulty. But in the MPP, we are fully in support of any effort to fight corruption. We'll support it any day, but it must be done according to the law.
Richard Anyangwa, grateful for your time this afternoon. He's the Director of Communications of the Opposition MPP. Vitus Azim is still with me. He's an anti-corruption crusader. Vitus, I want to give you the final word so that we wrap up this conversation.
Well, I think that if Ghana really wants to fight corruption, we must not politicize credible allegations of corruption. We must allow the law to take its course.
Right.
But if we always come and try to politicize corruption allegations, we will not make a headway. And a change of government should not necessarily mean changing the process. We have laws, and we must all go by them, whether you belong to the ruling party or you belong to the opposition. If we do that, then we are going to succeed in the fight against corruption. But this, it happened in this region, so why is it not happening in this region? The point is that some allegations were made against Kenneth Gyasi. If he's not guilty, if he thinks that he has done nothing wrong, then he should come and prove his case. But if you remain there, you create the impression among many Ghanaians that, oh, you are aware that you did something wrong, and that's why you don't want to come up face the law.
Right.
It's natural that people think that way. But that doesn't mean that we're already prejudging him. So I think that's how we should look at this thing.
Right. Vitus Azim, grateful for your time this afternoon. He's an anti-corruption campaigner. And earlier we heard from Richard Anyangba, who's the Director of Communications of the Opposition NPP. We've also heard from former Deputy Attorney General Alfred Tuayeboa and Professor Kwadwo Appiagyei-Tuah, who is a law lecturer at the University of Ghana. And other stories this afternoon: a bridge collapse in the Wejagbawe municipality has disrupted daily life for hundreds of residents, cutting off access between communities and making movement extremely difficult. Residents say they are struggling to carry out routine activities, with some unable to leave their house and others forced to use longer, more challenging routes to access schools, markets and healthcare facilities. School children have been among the hardest hit, with many unable to cross to their schools. My colleague Ramat Bashiru is at the scene and is joining me with the very latest. Ramat, what is the situation on the ground and how are residents coping with the disruption?
Falling within, and so it has blocked the water from passing through the gutter, and for that reason the water is actually entering in their rooms. We have some of the residents here who have been sharing their frustration with us. Many of them say they are unable to move in and out of their rooms for the past day since we entered this raining season, and it's actually having a significant impact on their economic life because they are unable to access basic needs. They are unable to go to school. The school children are unable to go to school. Those who are also working are also unable to do so. Earlier when we got here this morning, everywhere was flooded, including this place. We were even unable to step here to cross the bridge to where the people are standing currently. But because the rains has come down small, we are still trying to see if we can get more of the residents affected by this incident to speak to. I have with me here many of them who we've tried to bring out from their rooms, and we've engaged them. They've been sharing their plight and how the situation is really affecting them. We spoke to them. They tell me this place is not a waterlogged area or a flat pond area. It's just due to the collapsed bridge. That is the results we are seeing today, and they've been sharing their frustrations with me. Hello, sir. We spoke to you earlier. You've been here with us since morning when we go here monitoring the situation. So far, how is it going for your people, especially those who are stuck in their rooms?
So this is the only time anybody can come out from their rooms. So what you are seeing here is the minimum devastation we can have. We are calling on the authorities to come and do something about this bridge, because they have constructed the gutter and then the bridge on the other side and then on this side also, and have left this enclave unless they do something about this bridge. The next rainfall, nobody can survive in this area. So we are calling on the MP, the MC, all the authorities. Those who have work to do should come to the grounds and do their work. They should leave their offices and come to the grounds and come and do their work, because we are suffering. We pay taxes. This place is no more commercially viable because the vehicles cannot come in and out. Not even a motorbike. Motorbike cannot even cross this area any longer. So we are calling on authorities to come as soon as they can. Thank you.
I have with me here a parent who says that her items are all destroyed. I mean, she lived just after the bridge where that incident has happened, and then she showed us videos on her phone where her room is flooded, her items are spoiled, her fridge, her chairs. I mean, most of her items she showed to us on her phone. So now she even tells me that the clothes she has on her right now, together with that of her kid, is someone who gave it to her. And so this is where they've come to seek for shelter for now. So I would want to engage her further to understand the extent of devastation the situation is causing her.
Okay, I'm Linda from Bawimalam. We are pleading on our elder people to come and help us, because what we are facing right now is very disturbing. Our kids are now, this son of mine is very sick because of the weather. We sleep on the floor and other things. We are suffering. We are pleading. We are just begging you guys to come and help us, because what we are going through now, and when it's time for us to vote, you guys will come and plead with us to vote for you. We are pleading. I now have to stay with someone just to keep my children or have shelter for myself and that of my children. Please come to our aid. We need your help.
How many kids do you have?
I have 2, 5 years and 1 year.
So where is the 5-year-old?
She is in school now. But we have to stay with one woman here. for her to, so in order for my other child to go to school.
Okay, so
I lost everything, almost everything. Not even almost. I lost everything. Our television set, our mattress, everything. I'm with their father, but he traveled a few months ago. And look at the situation left behind. We don't have anywhere to stay. At the moment, we are homeless. We are pleading on the government. We are pleading on government. We have MPs. We have DCs. They should come to our aid and help us. We are homeless now. Please help us.
So it's just the bridge that you think that they need to be a very thorough construction to be done.
We need them to construct a very big bridge for us because it's due to that. That's why we are suffering now. That very fateful day, I think that was 22nd May. If I was to be in the house, like by now, my children and myself will be gone by now. We had one pregnant woman next to our house. She has to climb up the building and stay on top till for about 4 hours for the rain to go before she comes down, which is very disturbing. I know we have elders who can help us, but you guys are waiting for something serious to happen before you help us, which is very bad. We are pleading, calm down and help us, because we the vulnerable ones, we are the very people who vote for you too. We are looking forward so that people should come here and help us. We are really suffering. Thank you.
So we are trying to see if we can get more of the residents here, but because of the situation here currently, they are unable to even come out to engage us. These are the very few people we've gotten so far because they live around just after where the bridge collapsed. So we've been able to engage some of them, but we are just trying to see if we can get in there and get more of the affected people. However, the situation here, incredible scenes all over. Residents are frustrated. We have parents sharing their plight. The residents say it's time for change to be done in this particular municipality. We'll continue to monitor the situation here on the ground and we will keep you updated. For Joy News, Ramat Bashiru, Wejagbawe Municipality.
And a manhunt is underway for the driver of a tipper truck involved in a fatal head-on collision with a fuel tanker on the Accra-Tema motorway. The crash, which occurred during Tuesday morning's rush hour, claimed 1 life and left 2 others in critical condition, according to the Ghana National Fire Service. The collision brought traffic on the motorway to a near standstill as emergency responders worked to rescue victims and clear the wreckage, leaving many commuters stranded for hours. We will hear shortly from the Ghana National Fire Service on efforts to track down the driver. But first, let's listen to some of the frustrated commuters who were caught up in the gridlock.
So this is the bent tanker.
You don't know the reason for the traffic. So there's an accident on the road. In the traffic.
About 1.5 hours.
1.5 hours.
From Tetekwasi.
How is this going to impact your business? Where are you going?
We are going to Akufo-Addo.
Start again.
I've been on this traffic for approximately 1 hour.
5 hours in traffic. Where are you from? From Accra. And where are you headed toward? So why don't you just turn and go back to where you're coming from? So how is it going to impact you? Because I see you are in a truck. How is it going to impact your business?
So that was the situation on the Tema motorway earlier today, and my colleague Stephen Mensah was at the scene and is joining me in studio with the very latest. Stephen, have officials confirmed the number of casualties, and really, what more do we know?
So what we know will be that the Ghana National Fire Service, in a media briefing with us, indicated that one person has died and 2 others are in critical condition at the Tema General Hospital, and 1 other person has been discharged after the incident happened. And there are still investigations ongoing as to what caused the fire and what caused the accident. But then some preliminary investigations and what we've gathered from the fire service will be that the fuel tanker skidded off its intended pathway into the tipper truck, and that caused the fire. But then these are still investigations that are still ongoing. We can listen to the Public Relations Officer for Tema, for the Ghana National Fire Service, DO2 Francis Yenzu, and he has been telling us about the interventions being made. When we got to the scene, we saw heavy gridlock as we heard from some of the commuters. You notice the Ghana National Fire Service and the police all on site trying to ensure that there's easy traffic flow. We can listen to DO2 Francis Yenzu talk about the interventions.
Debris flushed the floor with at least some water so that we do not encounter any vehicles slipping up as well from here. When we are done with it and we are satisfied that the place is now okay, we can open it for vehicles to use.
How long is this operation going to take?
It depends. We're envisaging about 2 hours, estimating that around 11:30 we would have been done with it. But it seems because, due to the impact, some of the lockers are not decoupling, so we need to use other means and hit it so we can be able to move the vehicle as well.
What's the casualty level? How many people died and how many people have been affected by it?
We have 1 person that passed on from the incident. That is the driver of the truck, the tipper truck, who passed on. And I think if you can look at this particular side, you realize there's a head here. So from the impact, the persons who were in it had to move from the head, so they were still in the head compartment. They moved, it threw them from that side to the road, and when they got to the road, 2 of them were able to come out, but the 3rd person, who is the driver, was stuck. And that was the time that the explosion also happened, and it caught fire. So he was trapped in it, and unfortunately he lost his life.
So I just want confirmation. 1 person dead. How many people affected?
So he is the only person who died out of the whole incident. There are 3 other persons who were also part of the who involved in the accident. They are in the hospital. We just spoke to one of the victims. He was sent to the hospital and has been discharged.
Stephen Mensah is still in the studio with me. Stephen, has the traffic situation gotten better?
Yes, so that was the Public Relations Officer for Tema, for the Ghana National Fire Service, Ebenezer Yensu. And before we left, we understand the traffic situation is much better now. The remains of the tipper truck and the fuel tanker have been taken away from the stretch. So currently, there's easy traffic flow on the stretch.
Stephen Mensah there, thank you very much. Now, 2 buildings have already collapsed in Accra following rains, heightening fears that more structures could give way as the rainy season intensifies. One building causing particularly concern is a 6-story uncompleted structure at Ashaliboche, located just meters from a cluster of schools and a busy roadside. Although it was earmarked for demolition in 2020, the demolition is yet to happen. Residents say the structure has continued to deteriorate, leaving them living and working under the constant fear of a collapse. Jamal Pia has more in this report.
The 6-story uncompleted building sits along the road near School Junction at Ashaliboche, adjacent to a filling station and just a few meters from the Ashaliboche cluster of schools. For years, residents have looked forward to the demolition of the structure after the Adentan Municipal Assembly, in a 2020 press release, stated that it was taking all necessary steps and liaising with relevant state agencies to assess and ensure the safe removal of the building with immediate effect. The developer at the time did not have a building permit. Joy News sources indicate that the Assembly subsequently filed a suit in court seeking an order to demolish the structure. The MCE for the area, Ella Christian Nungo, explained that the then MCE at a point opted for an out-of-court settlement, and so the case is no longer in court.
The building was there in November 2020. At the time the developer started building, first of all, we realized that he didn't have permits. So the Assembly went to stop work, went to earmark for him to come to the Assembly for the permit, but he didn't come. So still in 2020, the Assembly decided to go to court for a court order to be able to demolish it. Just when the Assembly had presented all the evidences, the developer joined the case somehow, and there was a change in leadership. So the second, my immediate past MC had to, convince the court, however, to bring the matter home. So as we speak now, the matter is not in court. The Assembly doesn't have a court order to demolish it.
Residents say they have grown tired of speaking to the media, as several reports over the years have yielded little or no results. Kwame Opoku operates a lotto business directly in front of the building. He says he closes his shop at the slightest sign of a downpour for fear that the structure could collapse.
Even since you because
we get scared anytime it threatens to rain. We leave here and come back later after the rains have subsided. So we are really scared. The building is tall, so if possible, the government can arrange with a developer so that they can remove about 2 stories from it. That will be okay.
Because
Another resident and shop owner, Akufo-Addo, who has lived and worked in the area for 36 years, fears that a strong windstorm could one day bring the building down.
And I should have not done something about it by now. If you want to reduce it, you may reduce it to 4 or 5. Yes. But now if it's like this for a very long time, the cement will be becoming weak. So what will happen is that there will be a fallout, and which will may cause somebody's life. Yes, so the earlier they do it, the better.
So this is the wall that was built by the occupant of the structure. It's a carpentry shop. So that's the wall for the shop. The developer for this tall building was supposed to at least build a little far from this wall. But what we see is that he built right on top of that wall, and that's the structure you see there. So there isn't any space between this particular structure that belongs to someone else and what a lot of people call the Ashaliboche Tower of Babel. That's the situation here, and I am told that from time to time you see that parts of the building keep falling, and one of the carpenters here told me that one time when he came to work, he noticed that a part of the building, the iron rod, had fallen and hit right on top of his structure. And he says that if he was at the shop, it may have been a different situation. Opposite this building is a filling station. There are concerns from the residents and those who own shops around that should this building come down one day, it could affect the cars moving, the students or the pupils who close from school and use this road to their various homes. If you look to this building, which was supposed to be demolished some 5 years ago, you realize that parts of it
looks very disorganized, deteriorating. They keep falling. This is a compound. There are children who come around to play around. This is the concern of the residents here. 2 months ago, the Ghana National Fire Service posted a notice of prohibition on the structure, directing the developer to produce a fire permit within 24 hours or face sanctions. The municipal chief executive is assuring residents that the building will be demolished within a month after engaging the services of Architectural and Engineering Services Limited to conduct a structural integrity test.
What I have done, or what my people and I have done now, is that we have engaged the services of AESL to come and do a structural defects test, which we are waiting for their report by next week to get a court order to demolish it. But I want to assure them that in less than a month, they will see the building down. So they should keep their calm.
Reporting for Joy News, I am Gemma Apia.
And it's been 6 days since a building collapsed at Adenta during heavy rains, killing a mother and injuring 4 other people. As the site is yet to be cleared, 2 questions remain: how the families left behind will cope, and how a building that both residents and the municipal assembly say was flagged as unsafe was even allowed to stand. Emmanuel Samani returned to Adenta and Father's report.
This is the spot. A few days ago, this was a building of families, full of noise and full of ordinary evenings. Now, it's bare ground. The night it came down, the rain was pouring and the power was out. People dug with their hands in the dark, pulling out whoever they could reach. By morning, the injured had been rushed to the hospital, to the University of Ghana Medical Center, and to the 37 Military Hospital, where some are still fighting to recover. One did not make it out at all. A mother, found with her young son, still alive beside her.
Clearly, the rubble is yet to be cleared in a rescue operation that was in conjunction with NADMO, the military, the Ghana National Fire Service, as well as the ambulance service. The rubble is still here days after this building came down. Now the question remains, or the attention has been shifted to 2 things: the families who have lost their building and their home, as well as a loved one, and the question that goes to the community and residents here: why this building was allowed to continue, or the building project was allowed to continue.
In all, 1 person was killed and 3 others injured. The woman who died was a mother of 3. Her son, Solomon, is being treated at the University of Ghana Medical Center. 2 others were taken to the 37 Military Hospital, whom have since been discharged, though 1 has been readmitted at a different facility with an infection and 1 remaining on admission. Fred Boateng lives just meters from where the building stood. He was there when it came down around 5:30 that evening, and he watched young men from the area try to reach those trapped inside without any equipment.
So we were all around and we heard a noise, a loud noise, boom. So those living around rushed coming here and realized that this building has imploded. Break into it. And then the landlord, the owner, had a wife and 3 children and a tenant at the top. They were all stuck in there. You also have a Toyota Corolla, still under the rubble. So at that time it was about 7. It was still raining heavily. Yeah, so people came around. We were trying to. There were no machine around, so the boys came around using this pickers, hammer here and there to chisel. We heard some of the noise. One of the boys was crying under. They were able to pull him from this side. The man was also able to pull out. Then for about 2 hours, we couldn't pull the woman. Apparently, when they saw her, she was trying to save the last born. It was about 4 years. So she covered the last born and about three iron rods pierced the thighs and the legs. So she bleeded to death. But about 2 a.m. they were able to pull her out.
Solomon survived. He was operated on immediately at the University of Ghana Medical Center. Days on, his nurse says he is improving, but not yet out of difficulty.
Solomon came in at the emergency and then he was transferred out to the plastics unit for further care. So when he got here, our surgeon saw him and then they needed immediate or emergency surgery. So the patient was informed, the relative was informed, the consent was being done, and then patient was sent to the ER. And then in the evening, patient was brought back. So looking at the things that all happened during the surgery, they saw that there was a break in the limbs, that is both limbs. As you can see, as he's lying down, we've elevated the limbs, and also there's some abrasions in his face, his hands, and all that. So when he came, yes, the condition was bad, but today I can say it's progressing, like he's getting a bit well.
But survival has come at a cost the family is struggling to meet. Solomon's bill is now approaching 20,000 cedis with little support so far. They were told the Municipal Assembly would cover his treatment, but saying they are still waiting for it in writing.
As at yesterday before 5 p.m., we were almost at 14,000. So I'm sure as at now, we are almost getting close to 18 to 20,000, roughly in range number. So currently, yes, the bills are piling up. And so the very first day they brought Solomon, one of my cousins was here to make an initial deposit of 2,000 cedis. And also other relatives came to pay an additional 2,000 cedis. But NADMO came in to refund that money. So they informed us that the MCE and the Assembly will be taking care of Solomon. But as at now, we haven't received an official information because we went to the finance department of UGMC and they told us that we need an official document so that it can prove to them that the Assembly is the one going to take care of Solomon.
And there is a harder truth the family is still holding back. Solomon and his siblings have not been told that their mother did not survive.
Solomon and his siblings do not know that their mother has passed.
For Solomon, he doesn't know. Initially, when that was on Thursday, he asked me, and I just told him that the mom is in another hospital in Accra. So to him, that is what he knows, that the mom is in a critical condition, just as he is, but in a hospital in Accra.
So how was a building this community had flagged allowed to go up? The Municipal Chief Executive for Lankwantana Medina, Alhaji Ibrahim Fila, says the developer ignored repeated orders to stop.
It's a fact. The developer refused to comply with some certain regulations due to the tragedy that happened. I also put in a call by getting the former engineer who was transferred from this assembly, I think about 6 months ago. So I called him and he came and asked him, what do you know about this structure? Because I normally go rounds with them, but perhaps it's not everywhere that you've been able to touch within this very 1 year. So he came and he updated me that yes, they've been there on several occasions. They even at a point in time pulled part of the structure down. So the man refused to listen. He only comply as and when they are in. But as soon as they leave, for instance, in a weekend like this, being Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then they will come and put up the structure. They will continue with a very full speed.
The Assembly says it has now begun prosecution, but the developer cannot be found.
We have initiated the prosecutional processes. So he is currently being searched for. And if you've been to the house, he will not be in the house. In fact, since the Thursday, the police is still looking for him and is running away.
A developer is on the run. A family is waiting on a letter to keep a boy in hospital. And children are yet to learn that their mother is no more. For the people of Adenta, the building has fallen, but the questions it left behind have not. Emmanuel Samani, Joy News, Adenta.
And Ghana's ability to openly account for how public money is raised and spent has come under fresh scrutiny after the country's budget transparency score plunged from 46% in 2023 to 22% in 2025. The latest Open Budget Survey attributes the sharp decline largely to delays in publishing key budget documents, including the executive's budget proposal and citizens' budget, as well as the inconsistent release of in-year budget reports. The findings place Ghana well below the sub-Saharan African average and raise concerns about citizens' ability to effectively monitor government spending and demand accountability. Data and research analyst at Joy News, Anthony Menu, who is joining me on Zoom with the report. Tony, tell us about the report and what it found about Ghana.
Yes, the report actually assessed countries using three main key indicators: the budget transparency, also the public participation, and the strength of parliamentary and audit oversight. For Ghana, what actually stood out was the fall in budget transparency from 46% in 2023 to 22% in 2025. If you look at the data, I mean, it is the lowest we've had since 2015. The report actually links this to delays in publishing some key documents like the executive budget proposals and also the citizen budget, as well as some inconsistency in the in-year reporting. It actually used over 109 indicators to measure how timely, complete, and also accessible 8 key budget documents are on a scale of 0 to 100, and a score of 61 and above is considered very adequately transparent. So if you look at the score that Ghana had, which is the 22%, it is largely inadequate. There were also some small gains elsewhere in terms of public participation. It rose from 17% to 22%, while oversight by Parliament and the Auditor General actually improved from 28% to 33%. However, the report is actually noting that citizens' engagement in budget process remains largely limited here.
Anthony Menu, thank you very much. Let's explore this further, and joining me on Zoom is Harriet Ajiman. She's the country director of Send Ghana. Harriet, welcome to the program. In particular terms, does Ghana's sharp drop in budget transparency mean for citizens and civil society groups trying to track public spending? Really, what does it mean?
Well, it means that government is not providing adequate information to its citizens to be able to effectively engage with their government. It is not just about having the documents, but once government has signed on to the Open Budget Survey, it means that we have to adhere to the basic standards of that. And it means we as a country must publish a timely report, we must publish comprehensive report, and we have to ensure that that report is available as and when it's required, that is available for citizens' use. And so when the budget is read, the budget document must go online on the Ministry of Finance's website right after the budget is submitted to Parliament. And sometimes you will realize that it is not there. It takes quite a number of weeks or days for the document to be uploaded. And once we have signed on to the survey, the date on which we upload that document is noted. And so it will be recorded against the country that we did not make available that document in good time. It also means that if citizens, civil society organizations, media, and ordinary citizens want to have that document at the very time that the minister is presenting to Parliament, or a few days afterwards, to be able to assess, to know whether the inputs they have made into that budget is reflecting, they do not have the information to tell. They have to depend on just the summaries that are presented by the minister to Parliament, and that is not adequate enough to be able to do any comprehensive analysis. And so if the document is not available, it goes against us. And then the various documents must also have content. The contents are known. And so if we do not have some information in the documents, it also goes against us. For instance, the in-year report, if it's not talking about our debt levels, if it is not giving us information about how we are servicing them, if we do not have information about how much revenues we are generating every month and how much we are spending every month, then we do not have the information. And we need the information, to support our development. Civil society needs it to be able to hold their government accountable to the promises and commitments made.
And the report also cites delay in publishing key budget documents. Is this simply an administrative lapse?
Well, I think the Ministry of Finance would have been in the very best position to respond to this question. But from observation, I see that anytime there is transition in government, we tend to have some of these delays, And so 2025, it may take a while for information on 2024 to be uploaded, for instance, because of that transition, especially in the early parts of the year, the new year of the new government, and it happens like that sometimes. But the ministry is best placed to respond to this question. It could be administrative lapse, or it could be just that the information is not comprehensive enough, and therefore they are not in a good position to put it up.
And Ghana made slight gains in public participation and oversight, yet the scores remain relatively low. What exactly must government and Parliament do differently?
Right, so that is true. Compared with other years, I think in 2019 and the like, we hadn't performed well. 2025 happened to be the year that we moved up to 22%, and which is still low. And the mechanism that is being used now is still Ministry of Finance publishing, asking citizens to submit memorandum. And so if you happen to come across the announcements in the dailies, yes, you can do so. And then some organizations also do mobilize and get the Ministry of Finance to come around. We do so, we mobilize citizens and we go along with the ministry so that citizens can make input or participate in the budget formulation process. But it remains at the formulation process, and that is limited. After formulation, there is implementation. How are we getting citizens to be part of the implementation process so that they can become watchdogs as we are implementing, drawing government's attention to lapses, and then we are addressing those lapses as a country as we move on, and even their participation in audit, providing the audit institution with information. These are very limited, and so the government or the Ministry of Finance that leads this process must begin to look for other means of engaging, which could include modern ways of engagement, using digital platforms, for instance, to reach a large part of the country, because we do not have, or they do not really have the resources to bring in everybody for an in-person engagement. But then virtually they can reach different groups, persons with disability or the marginalized in very remote places. They can also encourage citizens to submit their memorandum to the ministry in person or virtually through emails, so that we do not wait for the Ministry of Finance to call. They have to raise a lot of awareness for people to know that these are the window periods, or this is the window period for the budget formulation process, and that you could submit your ideas to government for inclusion. You don't have to be there personally for it to be qualified as inclusion or participation. Once you are able to submit either through email or even WhatsApp, they give those addresses. It is considered that you have participated in the formulation process. And then at the implementation level in the districts and at the national level, citizens must be given the opportunity to participate, observing, being informed about projects that are going to be implemented, so that they monitor and give feedback to the assemblies. But often they are not informed. You ask questions, they ask you, I don't report to you, and those kinds of things. It really discourages citizens to participate.
Right. Harriet Ajiman, thank you very much. She's the country manager of Send Ghana. Let's talk about health this afternoon, because peripheral hospitals in the Kumasi metropolis are reeling from the impacts of the ongoing strike by medical doctors and nurses at the Akufo-Addo Teaching Hospital. Major satellite hospital facilities, including the Sintreso and Menchia government hospitals, are now receiving more cases at the outpatient departments after health professionals at Akufo-Addo refused to admit new cases. Meanwhile, union leaders of both doctors and nurses at Ghana's second referral hospital are expected to enter a crunch meeting with the board management of CAF. My colleague Emmanuel Bright-Kweku was at the Sintreso Government Hospital and is joining me via Zoom for more. Emmanuel, what can you tell us at this hour?
Belonging to talk about mats here, it is expected that some people actually slept at the OPD center, and so it tells of the impact of this ongoing strike at the Akufo-Addo Teaching Hospital. But I'll quickly engage with some of the stranded patients who have come here to find out from them what really how this whole strike is really impacting them. I have this old man with me. He had moved all the way before coming on camera. He told me he had moved all the way from Tanosu to come here and seek medical attention. Daddy, now also free Tanosu by then see then on Makacho.
Me buy no pano any peguha, send a baby or buy and any party so any horse a hang Adam pine or be a ho. Who will say, yeah, say doctors cop strike. Who will say, yeah, doctor cost strike. Who be adding Tinomo cost there, come say that or more penny be aqua can say emergency I am. Enti no bi eba wo nya ba bi na enti no aban hu na se oye eno okoka enti no wo so wonko tena fie be America kransa eno nti ne nkwada anso se ma wo mpani na akotena fie a eni wo so mo madwuma enti ye ne ye de nyina samha wo mo egugu a wo da ha da danso wo nya doctor nhwe won enti Mr. Doctor no se wo se aban se enye ye ntie kura da se doctors cost strike and as BBC our breachire enti yesre no ade bia papa na ye bia no ama wo so nkotina fie na wo mo hwe asem no mu no wonya manenka na nkwara no emre dwuma mehwe yan yarefo wo mo hu ye mobo
na daddy ankasa ba hasen ka ba ye den ka bo
me ba be hwe me ho yade
den ye wo ntia oba ha
bibia ye me nan ya mentumi enti so me nan ya me ye enti na ma me ba e
sisi ano be do be ko baby fufuro ana
me nya baby fufuro nko wo be ko baby fufuro this a private hospital me su minister me pensioner minister me dey ko private hospital enti no gese me twan amomo ba ansa masanya ba
ndro na ense o na ense ye kwa
me na no nya de kuro wo ho na momentumi ntia so enti me gese me pepa le binom na eye me yi kakra ko fim so on be ba and so that's an old man. He had come all the way from Tano, so he has been explaining to us that he had come here to seek medical care for his leg, and so he had a bit of pain, so he had come here to actually get some pain relief
relievers to actually reduce whatever pain he may be going through. So I still quickly engage with a lot more of the stranded patients that are here. That me who saw bandage wa hana den omo kacha na omo hwe umpo.
Me ba for dressing, but and then on anka Wednesday ana nkomuka say nka me hu doctor enye etinanka me fa say ya be find out say e be a doctor no on for Wednesday. And some bars so I think say striking that so ma in the paper ni say to me crown me name say Wednesday the 17th on Monday date mam say me for doctor and so say me name
nti say obaye den wa ba obi ani hantu be den sisia ba kwa ba wo chana nana
say and then the my bed dressing 17th for Wednesday and on Monday say can me doctor.
Okay, that's a pass so near Kasa. And so that's also one of the patients that have come here. Actually, he got attended by the staff here at the Akufo-Addo Teaching Hospital. So just as you can see, we are having some of the patients or some people actually occupying this place. As you can see right behind me, that's a woman on the floor. They have actually laid mats. It's expected that perhaps he could be a relative of maybe one of the admitted patients here. We'll see if we can engage him, but this is actually the situation here at the outpatient department of the Akufo-Addo Teaching Hospital. Ideally, when you come here, you should expect that they have mounted or erected some pews, that's chairs or even anything for people to sit around. You have the doctors or the nurses at this particular side where the table is for them to receive the cases that will be coming to this particular department. But unfortunately today that is not the case. As we came here, we've not sighted anything like that. As the camera is giving you in a shot, we've not sighted anything like that. So it's quite difficult for quite a number of the people who have actually come here to the Akufo-Addo Teaching Hospital to seek medical care in terms of all the strike ongoing. We understand that there is a crunch meeting that will be ongoing at the Akufo-Addo Teaching Hospital between the doctors and also the board management to find or bring finality to this matter. But as we speak now, we have not heard from them officially to really know what is the outcome, whether they are going to call up the strike or not. But this currently is the case here at the Akufo-Addo Teaching Hospital. And let me see if I can speak with a lot more of the people here and find out what they came to do here. Ma, good morning, good afternoon. Patronette is saying. Na ma me oba ha be ye den na den na o maka cho e ba o say no more strike ana.
E di kan say ya hwe.
O say dey. Ya
hwe.
O ma hwe mo. Na o fi fa ne bai.
Fi Junction.
Junction. E wa hi.
Obuasi Nkwanta.
Obuasi Nkwanta, Obuasi Junction, Kunka Junction. Nti ufiri Obuasi ne bai nti si abai o ma beto o mu yi.
Fodu. Nkwanta wa na mefaka ba.
Na obai no den no maka cho na den mpo na nka wo be ye wa ha o maka cho
doctor. Ana ya lefo nse ya hwe. Ana meti he.
Ti si abai den obekọ Obuasi ana abai den.
Menuru Obuasi Junction ho na.
Junction ho na. Tu be den, obai den.
Masa ko bofu.
Nti na obekọ.
Nsi nti ato ile nako. Ati na ile nako.
Okay. Ochana wasaba na omba biom.
Echina de mesati yaka ba na masade kwa. Sika na wa ha me nsa. Ndi na this metese ya mamba.
Now we yare na eden nti ehun se hu hia se wo se onya doctor wana. Yare no se hu hia se wo se onya doctor.
Me sika ngo hu doctor ntimasa ko.
That's also. And so that's also another stranded old lady here. She says she had come all the way from somewhere around Obuasi to seek medical care, but unfortunately she came and did not meet any of the doctors or nurses to attend to him. Now the mama is finding out, mommy was so free. Obuasi chuho baby neighbor now also free him for neighbor na dena or makacho so far.
All right, I'm coming from Attionu. So far when I came, I was not attended to. I knew that it could be 50-50. So I came to try whether I could be attended to or not. So I went to the ENT department and I was told that they were all on strike. And for that matter, I was not attended to. So I'm waiting.
I'm waiting because there's no sense that they might be coming back anytime soon. Or
I'm not saying that I'm waiting for today, but I'll be listening to news. So when I hear that they have resumed, then I'll also come back.
Okay. But where are you coming from?
I'm coming from Attionu, Ebuakwa area. That's where I'm coming from.
Why didn't you go to any hospital around that area, but you came here?
I've been to South Central Hospital, Kumasi South Hospital, Attionu, Agogo. I have been referred to Akufo-Addo. So today I came to be attended to, but.
So will you go back to Agogo Hospital because they referred you here?
No, I'm not going back because they have said that they don't have the specialists to attend to me. So I'm here to be attended to. So I'm sure that this is the place that I can find a specialist to attend to my problem. So today I will be going back to where I came from. But when I hear that they are back, I'll also be here. So
thank you very much for speaking with that. And so that's also another stranded. He had actually been referred from the Kumasi South Hospital to the Akufo-Addo Teaching Hospital, and he has come around to meet a specialist, he's told, but unfortunately. And so because of the situation here, it is finding a lot of pressure on the peripheral hospitals. We have been to the Suntreso Government Hospital where there was quite a queue there for the doctors to attend to the patients that are there. The Mencia Government Hospital is also having a bit of or reeling from this impact currently here at the Akufo-Addo Teaching Hospital. And so it's all difficult for a majority of them. You can see some of them are lying on the ground. We'll see if and tomorrow, and then it's time now by.
Me buy and then now watch. Nah, ya ba hanum sen. Ya ho na ya ba. Ya de da bontene. Ade ba kwa ya me ya kra ne se. Sa krina.
Bibi da ha na.
Papa na da ha.
Okay, na mo sha.
Ana ya sha na wa ha.
Ba mo sha no.
Mpa sha mo sha na ade ba kwa ya me ya sa mo hwe toilet and bath.
Okay, sure, no problem, Matthias.
All right,
sure. But also almost only panic, and then I would say also ideally has an outpatient for Nawaha. Now then I'm a better now.
You need to buy them into your bontin so by any maintenance and I may have better than so it's here. You're quite bontin.
All right, sure. Thank you very much. And so, and that's also what he actually has his father in there to be taken care of. But because today the outpatient department is not operating, a majority of the relatives of admitted patients have actually turned this place into a sleeping area until the outpatient department is opened. This is what will be the situation here at the Akufo-Addo Teaching Hospital. So over to you in the studio. My name is Emmanuel. Right quick.
A group of NDC supporters has warned that the reported replacement of National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat Operations Director Colonel Dominic Boa could undermine Ghana's fight against illegal mining. Speaking on behalf of the group, Ebenezer Sape Intre argued that Colonel Boa has made significant progress in tackling galamsey and improving conditions around some affected water bodies. He urged President John Mahama to reconsider any move to replace the 9 months of boss, insisting that changing the leadership could disrupt ongoing efforts against illegal mining.
In support of what the 9 months are doing in fighting what illegal menace in our country. And as we are aware, Kenneth Boa being their leader is doing a yeoman job, and the job given him to make sure he fights whether NDC, MPP doing what illegal mining. And we all realize that what the man is really doing a yeoman job, and I don't think anybody at all will what change a winning team. All of a sudden we are hearing what the man needs to be changed because he has been there for 1 year. And from the look of things, we've been to some of the areas this Honorable Kenneth Boa doing a yeoman job, and you can see that even some of our party folks are even complaining that he doesn't listen to them. And for us, we know what he's doing is the right thing. The president promised Ghanaians what he would fight the illegal menace in this country. And what Kenneth Boa and his team are doing is a yeoman job. So for us, for some of us in Greater Accra, testers and callers, it baffles our mind that what the kind of work the man is doing, all of a sudden we hear that what the man should be reshuffled and bring what another person. And the question we are asking, is it because the man is not allowing some party big queens to do the illegal mining or what? So we are pleading with the president to immediately what intervene for Kenneth Gyasi to be reconsidered and what continue with the yeoman job he's doing to help Mother Ghana. We all know how the previous administration, they brought a lot of this, a lot of people to battle it, but they weren't able to fight it. But just 9 months came into the scene, you could see when you go to some of our water bodies, it is what? Although it hasn't been able to what, but you could see that what? Some of the water bodies are what? Are very clean.
The 2024 Annual Government Performance Report reveals government halted 15 major road projects due to financial challenges. That's what's coming up after the break.
Following the suspension of our debt servicing and subsequent debt restructuring, all those projects had to halt because we could not draw down.
Numerous cases of people falling asleep have been reported across the African continent. No one can explain this phenomenon.
With 24/7 FIFA World Cup coverage, sleep can wait. Everything can wait.
Catch all 104 matches from as little as 98 Ghana cedis only on GoTV.
Did you know that Ghana currently spends more than 8 billion Ghana cedis annually importing food that can be produced locally? That is why this June, Joy Business and the Super Morning Show, in partnership with the Federation of Associations of Ghanaian Exporters, FAGE, bring you the Joy Agribusiness Month 2026 under the theme From Soil to Sovereignty, Building Ghana's Agricultural Self-Reliance Through Innovation. Join us on the Joy Super Morning Show, Joy News, and across Joy Business platforms for a month-long national conversation on Ghana's food security and agribusiness future. Week 1 focuses on government policy, trade and financing for food sovereignty. Week 2 explores research, innovation, mechanization. Week 3 examines infrastructure, value addition, youth participation and agricultural financing, while Week 4 highlights opportunities across key horticulture value chains. The final week looks at consumer power and Ghana's roadmap to food sovereignty by 2030. Stay tuned to Joy FM and Joy News.
The city had one of its most dramatic years in recent memory. It opened 2025 at...
Imagine a family without a home. Imagine a song without a voice.
Hello again. The 2024 National Annual Progress Report has revealed that the previous MPP government was compelled to halt about 15 major road projects due to financial challenges. This came up at the ongoing consideration of the report by the Economy and Development Committee of Parliament. Listen to Tano South MP Charles Attionu list the various road projects, raising the question about why they were halted.
To page 186, table 3.1 of their report, which indicates that 15 major projects were halted as a result of bilateral creditor debt restructuring Chairman, with your permission, I want to run through these 15 projects. Construction of 14 pedestrian bridges, commercial roads and drainage extension project. Construction of the Tamakloe Road Project Phase 1, Power Grant Interchange and Secondary and Tamakloe Township Phase 1, Eastern Corridor Road Lot 1, new bridge across the Volta River, Accra Intelligent Traffic Management Project, La Beach Road and Traffic Management, rehabilitation of Dome Ketasi Road Project, 50 number composite bridges and related civil works, Obechebi-Lamte Interchange Phase 2, Bogatanga Boko Polimakom Road Project, Kumasi Inner City Roads, PTC Runabout Interchange Project, Takrade, Sunyani Inner City Roads, and design, fabrication, and supply of 89 clear span 2-lane rapid response project. Chairman, respectfully, I would want to ask to know the current status of these projects and what measures are being taken to see its facilitation to resumption and completion of these projects.
Meanwhile, the MP for Legichukuku, Benjamin Ayiku Nate, also raised questions about the former government's over expenditure of the election year budget.
15, section 2, 1, 2, 3, table 2, 10. The report indicates that the domestically financed capital expenditure fell short of its revised budget target by 3.3 billion Ghana cedis. What factors contributed to? So the question is, what factors contributed to this underperformance, and what measures are being?
So you want the factors that contributed to that?
Okay. Domestically.
Then let's deal with this trade and we continue.
For years, getting to school was a daily struggle for teachers posted to Kupeliga DA Basic School in the Talensi district. With no decent place to stay in the community, many traveled more than 35 kilometers each day just to teach. But today, there are signs of change after Joy News highlighted the plight. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has constructed and handed over a fully furnished 10-bedroom teachers' accommodation facility to the school. Emmanuel Jivenu has more in our continuing series, Crumbling Start, Season 2.
The smile on Linda Tanga's face is difficult to miss. As she walks into her classroom, she steals a glance at the new teacher's accommodation rising beside the school.
Good morning.
It is a sight she has waited for years to see.
So I'm very, very excited. Now I think I want to live in Kupeliga for another 2 more years. Yes.
For 4 years, she has taught at Kupeliga DA Basic School, watching teachers struggle with accommodation and long commutes. Now, as the project nears completion, Linda can finally imagine a future where teachers no longer have to choose between serving the community and finding a decent place to live.
Oh, for the accommodation, each time I turn to see the accommodation, I think there's much improvement in it, because I know that in a short while I'll be staying in a nice apartment. I will sleep comfortably. Then I will come out and then teach my children. Development of breast. Let's clap for her.
When Joy News visited Kupeliga in 2024, many pupils had no desk. In their white uniforms, they sat, knelt and squatted throughout lessons.
Preserving our food is by what? Drying them.
The conditions were taking a toll on teaching and learning. Today, many of those pupils are sitting behind desks. Among them, is Blessing Doc.
We were sitting on the floor. Our uniform always dirty every day. Our uniform was very dirty whenever we sit on the floor. But now we have finishers to sit on. We feel very happy to sit on finishers, and our teachers are also having butters to leave. I will learn hard so that my parents will be happy and the school too. We will raise the school up.
There's no struggle between them where to sit. Then secondly, they are always willing to contribute because they are not stressed out. Their mind is already prepared for learning. And you know, when a child sits comfortably, what is left is for their brain to open, to listen to what the teacher is saying, and also contribute to what the teacher has to give to them.
Teacher accommodation was almost non-existent, forcing some teachers to commute long distances each day, while others avoided posting altogether. After initial reports, community leaders, parents, and local authorities began pushing for solution through the Citizen-Led Action for Educational Accountability and Responsiveness project, known as CLARE, and implemented by School for Life, helped communities identify challenges, engage duty bearers, and advocates for action. The results are now visible across the school.
A lot has changed. I think after the documentary, we had 60 tables and chairs. It was donated by National Security, one COP, Abdul Rahman, then a mechanized borehole. I think you can see the polytank here. Then a 10-bedroom teacher accommodation built by Jesus Christ Church of Latter-day Saints.
Today, a fully furnished 10-bedroom teacher accommodation facility funded by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has been completed and handed over to the school. For head teacher Joseph Ayonka, the impact is transformational.
It's going to improve everything. Next academic year, teachers will be even applying to come to this school because the accommodation is decent, everything is going to be good, and our water system is there. So if a teacher comes to school and you have your accommodation with a bed and mattress there, what you need is just your bag. And the water is there too. So I don't know what teachers will need again. So I'm giving this school 5 to 10 years, everything will improve. BEC, students, enrollment, everything will change. Yeah, I think that is affecting us. But as far as we are getting this, I'm very sure that in the next 5 years, this will be a model school for every teacher to come.
Teacher accommodation has long been one of the biggest barriers to staffing rural schools. Before construction began, some teachers traveled for more than an hour each day just to reach the school. The new facility is expected to change that.
It's going to help because, you know, when there is school and there's no teachers, when the tourists come, they'll run back. So you see that the school, it will not be effective. But as the accommodation is there, if they post a teacher come, the teacher will stay. They do post tickets, but they come and run back because of accommodation. But now that we are getting the accommodation, they will stay. And the school students will get a good tuition.
The changes at Kopelga did not happen by chance. They followed the community's determination to be heard and the willingness of institutions to respond. The school now has desks, clean water, and decent accommodation for teachers.
Private institutions are coming in to support in providing teacher accommodation and then providing desks for learners is welcoming news to us. And then these are the kind of actions we talk about when we talk about citizens being involved in leading to campaign or advocate for education delivery to be served on them. And these are the things we are happy about.
And we are very grateful to Joy News. It is through Joy News that we had this. And we can't forget of School for Life, who also brought Joy News to help us air this our grievances to the government, which Latter-day Saints came and helped us. So we are very grateful to Joy News and School for Life. And we won't forget, Latter-day Saints, we say, we thank you so much.
Kupalga has a reason to celebrate. Children who once sat on the floor now learn behind desks. Teachers who struggle to find accommodation now have a place to call home. And a community that refused to accept the status quo is beginning to see the results of its persistence. Emmanuel Jivenu, Joy News, Kupalga, Talensi District, Upper East Region.
In more stories today, the family of 29-year-old civil engineer Jeffrey Boache-Dankwa is demanding justice after he was allegedly shot and killed by a military officer. A group of family members led by the deceased sister, Gifty Sewa, gathered at the Akropon District Court on Monday as the suspect, Private Insako Christopher Inchinchini, made his second court appearance. The family members told Joy News they hope the court's final judgment will serve as a deterrent to security personnel in the discharge of their duties. Emmanuel or Nana Yao Jima has more in this report.
Police officers at the court had to calm residents who expressed anger towards the accused. The shooting occurred weeks ago at the Ghana Armed Forces Central Command Headquarters in Kumasi following a misunderstanding between Private Inchinchi and Dankwa. Prosecutors told the court that the confrontation escalated and the accused allegedly fired a round from an M16 rifle at close range. The bullet struck Dankwa in the chest and exited through the back, resulting in his death. The prosecution said investigations are at an advanced stage, but military authorities are yet to produce the rifle allegedly used, despite a previous court order. Gifty Sewa is a relative of the deceased.
Is it a justice?
All we need is justice. Our relative isn't a foul. You can't kill him like that. You can't tell me you killed him for coming to the military barracks. The court must give us justice.
Presiding Judge, His Lordship Emmanuel Riafiedu, ordered that Private Inchinchi remained in custody at the Central Command Headquarters in Kumasi until the next hearing. ASP Jonas Newlove, a J crime officer at the Suntresu Police District Command and prosecutor in the case, said he was satisfied with the adjournment.
You're almost done with the dockets.
We are waiting for the military to hand over the weapon so we can take it to the forensic lab for examination.
For Joy News, Nana Ojima, Kumasi.
Away from the Ashanti region, a group calling itself Concerned Patriots of Akufo-Addo North constituency says the MPP is losing its grip in that constituency due to irregularities in the conduct of polling station elections after placing a court injunction on any processes to elect subsequent party officials. They say until elections in the outstanding 23 polling stations are lawfully conducted, the group will fight to halt all subsequent elections. An electoral area communications officer, Aisi Asari Ewua, says the decision to seek resolution in court has become necessary since all party mechanisms to resolve the matter has proven futile.
The aggrieved party members are asking the court to declare the failure to conduct elections in the outstanding 23 out of the 139 polling stations unlawful and unjustified. They also want the court to direct that the polling station elections be conducted before any subsequent constituency election. It is further stated that the court should issue an order for the removal of the representatives of the regional executives for the elections and order that elections be conducted in accordance with the party regulations. According to the group, some persons affected by the disregard for the party's election regulations have defected to other political parties. Isaac A.C. Asari speaks for the group.
Yeah, it has caused a lot of disaffection because there have been a lot of people who are going out of the party because of the procedures that were used to elect polling station officers. They feel cheated and embarrassed in a way, so they are almost going out of the party. We have a lot of people that are currently leaving the party. I can cite an example of Assembly member for Chichiwere. He's now joined UP, or the base rather. Yes, he said due to the circumstances surrounding his election, he has now defected to the base.
At a press conference, the Patriots indicated that some guidelines for the conduct of the elections were breached. They accused the constituency executives and the representative of the regional executives of ignoring the vetting process and the notice of poll for the election. According to the group, the anomalies were reported to the elections committee, which they ignored.
And there's a need for the leadership of the party to come to our rescue and rescue the party from individualism, nepotism, and favoritism, which is being done by our current member of parliament.
Already, a petition to the constituency, regional and national executives of the party is yet to receive any attention. For Joy News, Nana Yauchima reporting.
A 3-day free medical outreach organized by the Haven of Love Children's Foundation, led by former Joy News Impact Makers honoree Samuel Girako, has uncovered several cases of cervical cancer, breast anomalies, and high blood pressure among residents of rural communities in the Upper East region. The following report has more.
The 3-day medical outreach was conducted in Sanlerigu in the Nabdam district and Benaba in the Boko West district here in the Upper East region. A total of 600 people benefited from free cervical cancer screening, breast examinations, blood pressure checks, body mass index assessments, and skin disease screening. The exercise conducted by the Haven of Love Children's Foundation identified 7 cervical cancer cases, 20 suspected breast lump cases, and 46 cases of high blood pressure, while 15 people, including children, received dermatological care. Founder of the Haven of Love Children's Foundation, Samuel Nanabekai Girako, a 2024 Joy News Impact Makers Awards honoree for health and social welfare, said the exercise also revealed a worrying trend of high blood pressure among the young people screened.
We've seen almost 10 positive cases so far for the cervical cancer and a few breast cancer challenges, which we refer to the regional hospital for mammogram. A lot of challenges we've noticed is that the people here have high BP cases, and we have realized that it's the reason why many people are collapsing. And it's alarming that even young people have BP cases. We saw a lot yesterday, and without this screening, we wouldn't have known.
He appealed to individuals, organizations, and corporate bodies to support the foundation's work, explaining that its activities are focused primarily on underserved rural communities.
We want to use this opportunity to appeal to the well-meaningful public to come to our aid and support us, because our outreaches are rural-based centered. We are just young people, young youths who are fusing patriotism and the love of Christ, sacrificing to help individuals in the rural community. And even in the urban areas like Accra, Kumasi, and Takrady, a lot of people who are enlightened do not go to the hospital to get checked. Now, just oppose that to our people in the rural communities here. where the doctor to patient ratio is 1:30,000, 2:30,000. So a lot of people do not go to check.
According to healthcare professionals who participated in the exercise, many women in the communities had little or no knowledge about cervical cancer, despite the disease posing a significant threat to their health.
We put a very big smile on the people of Boku West and Nabdan district, because most of the women, they're not even aware of this breast cancer and cervical cancer, and it's killing our women silently. So when we got there, they were happy to come out and do the screening, because we all know that cervical and breast cancer is preventable and is treatable when it's detected very early. So I am using this platform to appeal to individuals, to appeal to any organization, those that can support. Because with the screening, we are using cotton wool swabs. We use disposable speculums to do it with vinegar, and it's very expensive.
Beneficiaries of the outreach expressed appreciation to the organizers, describing the exercise as timely and beneficial.
The breast cancer screening, I've never had it before in my entire life, but today is my first time, so I was a bit terrified, but it was just something like normal, that every lady or every girl can do it in the house. I think every girl or every woman, if you have heard about this opportunity, you please try your best and participate.
The Haven of Love Children's Foundation says it intends to continue organizing similar outreach programs to improve access to healthcare and promote early detection of diseases in rural communities, especially in the Upper East region. Reporting for Joy News, Albert Sorry, Benaba.
The Dean of the University of Health and Allied Sciences School of Medicine, Professor Yao Asante has called for a paradigm shift in how medical doctors are trained to improve healthcare delivery in Ghana.
The 8th inaugural lecture at the University of Health and Allied Sciences marked a significant milestone in Professor Yao Asante Ewuku's career, acknowledging his extensive contributions to clinical education and healthcare. Professor Ewuku joined UHAS in 2019 from the University of Cape Coast, where he held various roles and contributed actively to the training of health professionals. He has authored about 90 publications, amassing 3,385 citations, and is recognized for promoting public awareness on hepatitis and health issues, serving as Vice President of the Hepatitis Society of Ghana. During his lecture themed From Bedside to Academia, a clinical scholar's role in advancing medical education and gastroenterology practice, Professor Ewuku proposed adopting a new approach to medical training.
First, I believe that the future lies in integration. We need to integrate clinical wisdom with academic frameworks. We need to integrate local insight with global knowledge. We need to integrate science with empathy. I also believe that it requires innovation. We need to use digital tools for teaching, including GI endoscopy. We need to have curriculum co-creation with students. We need to have a multidisciplinary team-based care models in this era. And I also believe that it must be driven by inspiration.
He also suggested starting a project called Future Proofing Healthcare System in Ghana to tackle challenges related to access and sustainability within the country's healthcare system.
I am proposing that we work on a project with a theme, Future Proofing Healthcare System in Ghana, with the aim of developing what is called the Ghana Health Sustainability Index using our own indices or priority areas. I'm also asking that we create a dashboard, or this opportunity will create a dashboard of key health indices or priorities for the 16 regions in the country. And we can have a quarterly or yearly review of this and see where the gaps are so we can actually address it.
The inaugural lecture was attended by members of the UHAS community, academia, government and public officials, as well as friends and family of Professor Yao Asante Ewuku. Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News, Sokode, Etui.
That's it for the Pulse this evening. The news team returns at 7 p.m. with News Prime. My name is Kenneth Gyasi. Have a good evening.
Every morning before the rush, before the arguments, before the headlines begin to chase us,
there's a moment to pause, to listen, to understand what truly matters. This is where the day begins.
Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, a man who has run away from his own people he once served. We believe in the spirit of accountability. It is important for him to come and answer charges preferred against him by the state.
On the AM show, the news is not just read, it is examined. The stories shaping your life, explained with clarity, handled with care. We ask the questions without fear.
If your constituency cannot grow enough tomato for Ghanaians, then there's something wrong with your constituency.
My name is Emefa Akosua-Addo.
And I am Samuel Kojo Brace.
Two voices, one purpose, holding the powerful to account, putting your interests first in every conversation.
No noise, no spin, just fact, context, and the courage to ask the right questions.
Start your day informed, start your day empowered. The AM show on Joy News is definitely worth waking up for.
Joy News, independent,
fearless, credible.
All right, this is Let's Talk Showbiz. Today is a wet Tuesday. Yeah, the whole Accra rings are going up and down and all of that. Big shout out to everybody that is out there that's passing through the rain to go to work. At the same time, for those of you that your places are getting flooded, please, I pray God will see you guys through. But today, we have a very beautiful conversation with a man, a budding artist, up and running artist, doing something beautiful all the way from the northeast part of Ghana. And he's in Accra. I love this guy so much a bit. I love this guy. If I say I love somebody, you guys, you know what I'm talking about. This guy has got it. His name is Daryl, and he has a name that he calls him. When you say Daryl, most of the girls actually go, hi, Daryl. It has become a trend that I know the ladies, when they meet him, they go, hi, Daryl. But he has another one, Gala. I don't know what that's the way to mention it. So we're going to have a very beautiful conversation right here on Let's Talk Showbiz, and it's going to be a wonderful conversation. If I say conversation, you know what I mean. Darren, how are you?
I'm good, boss.
Charlie, your outfit, they tell me. I mean, I not tell viewers whether you are an Afrocentric guy or an Afropolitan guy or probably a high life or whatever that you represent. What exactly do you represent as a brand?
I would say I represent music.
Okay.
Yes, and when I say music, anything that comes with it. Yes.
So anything that comes with music, so far as it's going to, even if you're going to wear pants and it comes with music, you're going to wear pants?
No, in that manner. But then, you see, it needs to have class. Aside the class, there should be some, I don't know how to put it, but then a feel, a touch. Okay. That makes people feel like, nah, this guy there's something different about him.
So ever since you started doing music, I mean, before I even come to even the music itself, where have you been? What have you been doing aside music before even music founded you?
So I think I said music founded me like very early, at the very early stage, because my dad is a teacher. He happened to have been teaching like music and dance back in school.
Okay.
And my mother, there's something about that woman. When she hears a song today, within the next minute, she'll be singing it in her own way, but she'll make you feel like, is that the actual song?
Exactly.
So you hear her sing something, you go listen to the actual song, it's like, nah, it's different. So I think I picked it from there. Basically for music, I would say I started like from childhood, but then I didn't really know
what exactly
that was it.
But in your growing stage, I mean, what were some of the songs that you were hearing back then?
So with my dad, he liked Adade. So City Boys.
Oh wow.
They come to my house, City Boys. And my mother, she likes house songs because she's one. So most often that is what we listen to. But then personally, we had like my friends around. When the song dropped, we want to know who can sing it first. So this song always sticks with me. I don't know the title of the song or who even sang the song. I was like, so like exactly. So that song, like I don't know. I just kind of listen to them, and I think from along the lines I listen to for Ponsa, where you're doing the Cinderella. Because I just anything about love, I like it. So I wasn't really leaning much into the heart shape or like the hardcore rap and stuff. No, I was like more of like the relaxed, chilled guy. So yeah, if you come and my dad is listening to them, I say you like it just
beautiful. So at what point in your life, in your journey, being it way back when you were in school or something, probably maybe church, where did you get to and you realized that okay, I think I need to take this music to a commercial point?
So I'd say that was after senior high, because even at JHS I went to the reality show which was Ashanti Got Talent. I was the 7th person. Yeah, so from there at all those while it was like just a hobby. So I think back in SHS that was when I started having a fallout with my dad because he wanted me to focus on my education. But then I don't know, I can write a book full of songs and the next day I'll burn them because I had an argument with my dad. I get angry, go burn them. Okay, now I'm a serious person. We were writing Wasi, for all I know, mathematics we're doing. Before I realized behind the paper, I started writing songs. So when I came home, I told my big brother that, bro, this is what is happening. And we don't know how that is like. It's gonna be something. So how do we buy it? And he was like, no worries, we can do things sideways. Because anything I tell him, if he believes in the vision, why he's right on board. So I think that was it.
Big shout out to Big Brother. I mean, for you to have a big brother who actually believes in your talent, believes in your core, and is ready to support you. I mean, that is. So, if I should say, currently your brother happens to be more or less like a backbone, more or less like a manager sort of, who is actually pushing you to get to where you're supposed to get to. Because when you get to that point, there was nobody that you can actually rely on because mom, dad wants you to,
be a lawyer.
Exactly. You want you to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
I think that's why sometimes you like to dress. Because I've seen this guy most of the times. He's always looking dapper and he's always having long sleeves with tie. I don't know. But maybe one day he'll be a pastor. That's one thing I'm also thinking. Maybe, the guys agree to it. So, music found you. With all the genres of music in the world, which one did you really would say that you were so okay with?
So I'd say jazz.
Ooh. Wow.
Yes.
That is strange.
Yes. So there's something about jazz that I don't know how to explain it, but then it just gets me all like gassed up. I don't know whether it's the saxophone.
Okay.
Yes, I'd say that is it. So listening to that and now bringing it back to our setting where you listen to High Life and you hear the horns, like it makes you feel like,
all the
okay, this is exactly the same thing. So it made me, I listen to jazz, then I come back, listen to High Life.